From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger, Weather NorCal. Thank you so much for joining me here this morning. We've got a lot to talk about, but I want to show you this as just kind of a beautiful shot. You know, I always say this, we can't take for granted the beautiful area that we live in. And I want to thank Jolene Morrison for sending in this photo. This is out at Lake Siskiyou. You can see some of the ice that we're seeing on there as well. This is the same area where people recreate in the summer and go swimming. I don't think you're going to see people out there swimming out there today or anytime soon. And of course, there is Mount Shasta in all of her glory. By the way, if you want to share your photos, it's very easy to do that. You can share them from the free Weather NorCal app. Just search for Weather NorCal in your app store and download the app for free. And from there, you can share your photos right off of your phone. If we are dealing with snow and you want to show how much snow that you've seen, it's important to know where you are, elevation, and if you know how much snow you've seen out of that as well. All right, coming up in our deeper dive forecast, before we go through Krueger's Quickcast, here are the things we're going to be talking about. Number one, there is that flood potential. As the rain begins to move in, it will be heavy at times. It could really help to agitate a lot of the areas that have seen flooding over the last week. We also expect to see some heavy snow at times, especially in the higher elevations. This could lead to chain requirements and maybe even closures of some of those highways as well. Also, the winds are expected to pick up in some areas that could potentially lead to some power outages. By the way, it doesn't show it here, but also the chance for thunderstorms. All right, we're going to be talking about that in the deeper dive, but for those of you in a quick hurry, here is your Krueger's Quickcast. We're going to start off by what we can expect here as you're heading out the door this morning. It's going to be colder this morning in the valley. I do expect there to be some widespread frost out there. Look at that, we are below zero still at 8 o'clock in the morning for Modoc County. So a cold start. Here's the big picture. Big stream of moisture coming in an atmospheric river. This source is coming all the way from the western Pacific and making its way here into the eastern Pacific. So that's our source for moisture. We also have those winds I was talking about, a wind advisory for the areas in blue here, mainly through Friday morning. But the winds for the valley don't expect to be all that bad here for today. Later this afternoon and evening, they start to pick up along the coast. Start to see those winds pretty strong here for midday, later in the day here for parts of Siskiyou County. But tomorrow morning, very strong winds Siskiyou County, the winds picking up for parts of the valley and pretty strong here for the coast. All right, so also, we have a flood watch until Friday night. A lot of the same areas when you think about the rain that we saw last week. Again, a lot of areas that have seen recovery from the flooding we saw last week, they've seen recovery, the waters have dropped. But I think a lot of those areas will be agitated again with all of this rain that we're going to see here. So let's take a look at that here and taking a look at Futurecast. We're going to take you through the day today, and you can see the high clouds will be on the increase, but it will still be dry midday. Take you into the afternoon, about 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Once again, fairly dry. We're starting to see maybe some showers developing here down to the south and west. Then by tonight, we are seeing that rain and snow kicking in. That snow is hugging the valley. I am anticipating that there could be a mix as early as tonight for parts of the valley, which we'll get into that here a little bit more detail in the deeper dive as well. Also, we do have a winter storm warning now for areas surrounding the valley. So if you're heading out to the ski park today, I think you're still in pretty good shape. Should be another nice day out there. You can see the summit is at 96%, 96 inches that is here at the summit. 44 runs are open. That's putting it at about 100% open. All right, let's take a look at the forecast snow that we're expecting out at the ski park. And you can see probably over 2 feet of snow. That's for tonight and even into tomorrow as well. So a lot of snow, especially as you go into some of those higher elevations. No chain requirements right now, but I think that's going to change here by tonight and into tomorrow morning. Let's take a look at the forecast road conditions here. So as you can see here, we take you through about 10 o'clock tonight. The snow is beginning to showing signs of accumulating on I-5 near Mount Shasta City, Highway 89. Looks like Highway 299 looks okay. Highway 36 though, we are seeing some of that snow accumulating there and even parts east of I-5. You see how it begins to fill in more in the way of that frozen precipitation Thursday morning. Highway 36. Highway 299, Buckhorn Summit, Oregon Mountain, Berry Summit, the works, the potential for some change requirements there on Scott Mountain. There you can see I-5 near Mount Shasta, east of I-5. So yes, conditions will get worse tonight and tomorrow morning, and I expect those chain requirements most likely last well into Thursday afternoon as well. All right, so here's what we have here for today. Temperatures in the low 50s for the valley, and we've got 30s and even some 40s for some of the higher elevations, with those temperatures somewhere in the low to possibly even some mid 50s for some of you along the coast with increasing clouds. All right, so here's your 7-day outlook. Increasing high clouds, but dry. There's that rain. We could see a mix late tonight, early tomorrow morning for Redding, as far south as Red Bluff possibly, but mainly in the form of rain for Chico. Then of course Saturday we dry things out, and then maybe a chance for some showers for Sunday and Monday. Once again, we take a look at the coast, inland, and for Trinity County. Snow levels starting off fairly low, especially tonight, early tomorrow morning, and then they are rising. And then really looking at more of that cool and unsettled weather pattern this weekend and going into early next week. You see the snow levels, they're starting off low, they go up even more on Sunday, and maybe drop a bit here for your President's Day. All right, that is a look at your Krueger's Quick Cast, or at least as quick as I could get it. But now we're going to get into that deeper dive. But I do want to remind you that there is a free Weather NorCal app if you don't have it already, or maybe you're new to Weather NorCal. Welcome, by the way. Do know that there is a free Weather NorCal app. Pretty much everything I have to offer right here on Weather NorCal is available on this app. So just go to your app store, search for Weather NorCal, and download the app for free. All right, so let's take a look at that big stream of moisture coming in from the west. This, by the way, is a stream of moisture that is originating from the western Pacific. Look at this stream all the way here. Now, as you can see here, it's not quite here, it made its way to Northern California, but you can clearly see where that source of moisture is coming in from. I mean, to even call it a Pineapple Express would not be good, right? Because that's what usually comes down from the Hawaii region. It's north of that and is coming way off to the west of Hawaii. So again, quite an interesting source of moisture that's coming on in here. So let's advance through time. And you can see it kind of breaks off from that main flow as this trough low pressure digs to the south, but we still have that nice stream of moisture heading into California. And then as that low pressure shifts to the east, that will push that atmospheric river down to the south, and we see less in the way of rain by Friday and Saturday. All right, so that's what we have in store for us, at least that moisture source that we're talking about. So there's the area of low pressure, there's that atmospheric river. So what's happening is you can see how it kind of pushes mainly to the south, but the colder air, this low pressure, is going to be tapping into that warm, moist air. Now, here's the thing. Colder air, as you know, is already in place. We've been dealing with those cold temperatures, especially in the early morning hours, and even not really warming up in the afternoon. So with the colder air in place, as the storm system moves in, as the precipitation, the moisture moves in, it's going to ride over that cooler air, and I do think snow levels will start off fairly low. And very good potential that overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning, we could even see that mix for parts of the valley. But then that cooler air shifts off to the east, that storm system. We're going to see things kind of wrap up on Friday and Saturday looking dry. And then just kind of a cool and unsettled weather pattern here for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. You can see a couple of disturbances kind of coming through. And then it looks like by Tuesday of next week, we're dry. And then maybe another weak disturbance passing through on Wednesday. Bottom line, anything we see after tomorrow really is not expected to be all that impressive. All right, we're going to take a look at two different forecast models, much like we did last week. You may recall last week, this particular forecast model, or in-house forecast model here at Weather NorCal, was not as aggressive with the snow as another forecast model. And really, I'm seeing a lot of the same characteristics this week and with this storm system that I did with the last one. It's just different timing, obviously. So we go through the day today. We see the high clouds will be on the increase, but we're still fairly dry. By tonight, it begins to move in. So as mentioned, snow levels will start off fairly low. I've got them around 1,000 to 2,000 feet, but I do think it could get lower than that. As you can see, it is hugging the valley, especially the north and west side of the valley. So places like Old Shasta possibly seeing some snow, maybe at least a mix, maybe even West Redding as well. Then we go overnight into early tomorrow morning. We start to see it hug a little bit more towards the valley and even to the south here. So Redding down to Red Bluff, not out of the question. Overnight tonight, early tomorrow morning to see that mix. By the way, heavy rainfall along the coast, heavy snowfall elsewhere in those higher elevations. All right, so we can look at 6 a.m. We're starting to see it taper off, and we're seeing that first push of moisture kind of wrap itself up, but still heavy to the north and east. Things wrapping up along the coast, even in the valley. But at this point, we're starting to see as early as 6 a.m. on Thursday, that colder air mixing out, and at that point, snow levels will begin to rise. But as I mentioned, you see how it's kind of tapering off with the rain here? We've got another batch of moisture coming in from the west that's going to be moving on in. We've got showers, possible thunderstorms here as we take you through the day. Snow levels rising, though, as I mentioned, through the morning on Thursday and afternoon between 3,000 and 4,000 feet. There, of course, you can see that potential for more thunderstorms. All right, let's take you into your Friday. Snow levels may lower a little bit, but generally between 3,000 and 4,000 feet. That's 6 a.m. on Friday, and then Friday afternoon, you can see it all begins to kind of move on out of here. And I do expect much drier conditions by the time we do get into your Saturday. So again, the main event will be tonight, tomorrow, and then of course it starts to taper off on Friday. All right, so remember how the forecast model we just looked at, our in-house forecast model here at Weather NorCal, didn't show any snow in the valley, but it was very close. Let's take a look at this particular forecast model. This is the HRR forecast, HRR forecast model. Let's put it that way. All right, so you can see here, the timing looks to be about the same. It comes in tonight. Now, as we go into midnight tonight, look how much closer that snow is to the valley. This is getting a little bit more aggressive. You can see especially by early tomorrow morning, it's getting even closer to the valley here. So this is why, and again, this is pretty much what it looked like last week. Not as aggressive with the last forecast model we looked at. This particular forecast model, it was showing about the same. Maybe a little bit more off to the east in some areas, especially around towards Red Bluff, Cottonwood, and Anderson. But this would lead me to believe that at the very least, the best chances for that rain-snow mix in the valley will be when most of you are asleep tonight and early tomorrow morning. Now, yes, as some of you are waking up, you may get to see that mix, but again, that's all going to start to warm up. That warmer air begins to move in here through the morning tomorrow, and snow levels start to rise. All right, we've been talking about snow, and especially when there's that chance for snow, that's kind of a big focus. But we have to remember there are other elements we need to pay attention to, and that is, of course, the potential for thunderstorms here for tomorrow is being picked up by the Storm Prediction Center. Take a look at the rainfall totals. It's going to be heavy. I mean, through Friday, 5 p.m. And again, the bulk of this rain coming through tonight and tomorrow, you could see over an inch of rain for parts of the valley, more than that for the coast. And of course, a lot of this may be in the form of snow. So when you melt it down, you can see it doesn't really amount to a lot of rain. But you can see here, we still have that winter storm warning. This is mainly through Friday morning. And there you can see just some of the estimates that we can expect. Now, again, keep in mind, when we look at Weaverville, Hayfork, yes, tonight, tomorrow morning, you can see some light accumulation, but then that will then melt once the rain gets on top of that. And that will most likely happen if you indeed see these types of totals, right? Now, I do expect to see more as you start heading off to the east here, possibly close to a foot of snow for places like Chester, Mount Shasta City. I think you could see 4 to 8 inches of snow. This, again, will most likely melt or at least kind of turn more into a mix later in the day on Thursday and into Friday. How much snow can we expect out at the ski park? Probably over 2 feet of snow is a very good possibility at the base, and much more than that as you head up towards the summit of the ski park. All right, let's take a look at the wind. Now, the wind is going to be a bit of a concern and an issue here. As you can see, they're going to be gusty at times. This is a wind advisory through Friday morning for the coast, Siskiyou County, and in the valley. But here's the thing about the winds. Let's take you through the day today. Winds begin to pick up for parts of central Siskiyou County, but really not that bad here for the coast just yet. Overnight tonight, early tomorrow morning, Siskiyou County, eastern mountains, southern end of the valley around Chico, and of course along the coast, the winds are really picking up. 9 a.m. still very gusty in a lot of those same areas, and then it starts to pick up even more for parts of the valley here by tomorrow afternoon. But it does look like, as you saw, that the wind advisory expires Friday morning. As you take it through the day on Friday, you can see the winds will be calmer. Still a little gusty off to the east. Hey, by the way, if you are wondering about what's going on with those road conditions here because of all the snow, I've created this great resource for you, weathernorcal.com, or from the free Weather NorCal app, click on the road conditions section. From there, you can scroll through all of the different highways, and at a quick glance, you can see what the road conditions look like where you're going. Again, at a quick glance, but it's always important. There is a link from the free Weather NorCal app and on the website to Quick Map from Caltrans, so you can check out the latest road conditions and any chain requirements. All right, let's talk about that rain again, because again, you can see that flash flood risk for the parts of the valley. There's a flood watch that's been issued by the National Weather Service through Friday night. As I've been mentioning, I think a lot of areas that saw flooding last week then may have seen recovery and the waters have receded. I think we may start to see a lot of those same areas see the water begin to rise. It may not be as bad as it was last week, but I do anticipate that there are going to be some areas that could see more flooding here, and especially along the Sacramento River, that will continue to be an issue as well. But a lot of the low-lying areas, creeks and streams are going to swell up and maybe even go over their banks. You can see the river levels right now, and you can see mainly below that flood stage with the exception of Tehama Bridge at Sacramento River, where there still is that flood warning. So let's take a look at the forecast river levels there. You can see above the flood stage really and rising with this upcoming rain, finally dropping below that flood stage most likely by sometime around Saturday morning. Taking a look at the Sacramento River at Vina-Woodson Bridge. Again, you see how it's going up, most likely above the flood stage. It's not there yet, and we're not at the flood stage yet, but with the added rain, that could bump up to above the flood stage, and then by Saturday morning, that should begin to drop. So again, just kind of keep that in mind for a lot of the areas. If you experienced flooding, there's a possibility you could see that again here with this upcoming rain. Take a look at the lake levels. Yes, they've been releasing a lot, but they're still very healthy. You may remember earlier this week and even last week, Shasta Lake was around 90% full. Now we're down to 86%, so it certainly have been releasing a lot of that water here. As you can see, almost 3 feet drop here in the last 24 hours. But again, still at 86% full. That's pretty darn good. Take a look at the wave heights for today. They're not that bad, but they will be increasing with that approaching storm system, and most likely seeing some small craft advisories or maybe even hazardous seas warnings by tonight and tomorrow. There you can see your marine forecast for today, though. South winds at 10 to 15 knots, your high and your low tide. There's your sunrise, your sunset, and as of right now, there are no alerts. Here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast for your Wednesday. Another dry day, another cool day. Temperatures in the mid-40s, 54 degrees out towards Fortuna, 52 degrees in Garberville, and Blue Lake, about 55 degrees for that daytime high. We take you up north, look for a high of 53 degrees for Smith River, 48 in Orleans, and 50 for Willow Creek. And for Siskiyou County, you're going to be looking at increasing high clouds, but again, still dry. It's not until tonight that you'll see that rain. Still another cold day, upper 20s to mid 30s, just depending on where you are. Modoc County, another cold day for you as well. I'm expecting temperatures mainly in the low 30s, although only reaching somewhere in the upper 20s in Fort Bidwell and for Cedarville. Let's take you off into the eastern mountains. Temperatures there in the 30s and 40s. Paradise about 49 degrees with increasing high clouds. There you can see 35 degrees for Westwood and 39 degrees in Doyle. Your valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamith Painting. Your temperatures in the low 50s. Looking at dry conditions through the day today, you've got those increasing clouds. The rain comes in tonight. Tomorrow there's your 7-day forecast. That's not President's Day on Tuesday. It is on Monday. But of course, this is one of those things I forgot to change there. But it's on Monday, not Tuesday. Then, of course, you've got dry conditions here for your Saturday, although it's President's Week for the kids, so I guess it's semi-accurate. And then, of course, maybe another chance for showers by Sunday and for your Monday. All right, let's take you up to the north end of the valley here, and you can see about 53 degrees for Redding, 53 for Bella Vista, 48 in Whiskeytown, and 53 degrees out in 53 degrees in Red Bluff, that is. You're going to see that again, the President's Day on Tuesday. It's not. I made a mistake. I had a typo in there. I'm sorry. But again, it's Monday. Monday is President's Day, not Tuesday. I'm sure you know that. But just don't look at that and go, Mike, you're an idiot. It's not Tuesday. Yes, I know that. I just forgot to edit it. It just kind of went the next day. Anyway, there's the morning mix on Thursday, especially, say, around North and West Reading. And then Friday, I'm expecting a chance for showers, but those will be diminishing. And then dry for the weekend, at least for the first half of the weekend, then maybe some showers. I'm not anticipating a lot of rain, by the way, on Sunday, Monday, but there still is that chance nonetheless. And then dry for the day after President's Day on Tuesday with a high of 63 degrees. That's your morning update. I'll be back again at noon for your latest forecast. Have a great morning.
Barr & Mudford is a top, established firm here in the North State. Founded over a half-century ago, Barr & Mudford is protecting the rights of our neighbors and community. We take our commitment to our clients very seriously and provide a level of excellence unrivaled in the North State. Barr & Mudford, standing up for the rights of our neighbors and our beautiful community, serving Northern California with excellence.